You're watching ABC7 News at 7.
A lot of these campaigns have really the old-fashioned get out the vote, door-to-door campaigning, and that works. That does get people out. We might see a little bit of a bump.
The midterm elections are finally here. We've had debates, discussed the polls, and we're about to learn the results. Good evening, everyone. I'm Alan Cohen, and welcome to ABC7 at 7. Tonight, we pick a new governor. The big question, will Florida voters pick a new direction? Tallahassee Mayor Andrew Gillum has energized Democrats from the Sun Coast to the Space Coast. Former Congressman Ron DeSantis, President Trump's personal pick, and has run with it. Bill Nelson, Rick Scott, the U.S. Senate, Vern Buchanan, David Shapiro. Is there a blue wave or just red tide here on the Sun Coast? Our coverage begins at the Sarasota Hyatt, where Republicans will watch the results come in. ABC7's Taylor Torregano is there live. Taylor.
Alan, you can feel the excitement here in this Hyatt Regency ballroom as the people trickle in, and you can see the room is really starting to fill up quickly. Now, one of the major races for the Sun Coast is Florida's 16th congressional district. Republican Congressman Vern Buchanan has served 6 terms in this seat, but this year, even he says his opponent is putting up a good fight. Democrat David Shapiro is an attorney in Sarasota. He's trying to win the hearts of voters from Manatee County to northern Sarasota and southern Hillsborough counties. Now I have Congressman Buchanan's campaign manager, Max Goodman, here with me now. Max, you're telling me that you have a good feeling about tonight.
We're feeling good. We've heard nothing but positive feedback thus far. We've had an army of grassroots volunteers out there knocking on tens of thousands of doors, making tens of thousands of phone calls. And frankly, it's been easy because we've been running on Congressman Buchanan's record, fighting for red tide, fighting to protect veterans' benefits, protecting Medicare and Social Security, protecting our oceans, protecting animal welfare. So it's been a privilege working on this campaign, and we hope to prevail this evening.
And what are some of the things that you're hearing on the campaign trail?
Here's the one thing I will tell you. I cannot tell you how many times I'm going to a precinct with the congressman, I have a meeting with the congressman, I'm just simply out on the trail with the congressman, and it doesn't matter if it's a Republican, a Democrat, or independent, they say, you have our vote. Why? Because he fights to protect our coastline from offshore drilling, because he's working to ban horse slaughter. It covers the gamut, and that's why he is so beloved in this community, and that's why he's going to prevail tonight.
Great. Thank you so
you.
much. We do have the congressman on his way here, along with Christian Ziegler, who's running for Sarasota County Commission, and numerous other candidates. Right now, though, I'm going to toss it over to Jackie Kelly, who's live at Michael's on East at the Democratic Watch Party. Hey, Jackie.
Hey, Taylor. Thanks. So the Democratic Watch Party just kicked off. People are starting to make their way in. I'm joined now with Mary Klepper, who is the state committee woman. So how are you feeling about tonight?
Well, we're excited and we're optimistic. I went around to a lot of the polling places today with a candidate that I've been helping, and there was a lot of excitement at the polls, and we're just going to wait and see what happens. We have a lot of confidence in Andrew Gillum bringing home a win tonight.
Yeah, and now why is this midterm election unlike any other? Why is it so important?
Because Donald Trump is president, and I think that's caused a lot of people angst. And whether we want to, talk about it or not, I think he's driving a lot of people to get out and vote because they're worried about things. So.
Well, thank you so much, and stay tuned because I'll be updating you all night long here at the Democratic Watch Party. Back to you, Alan.
Thank you, Jackie. So what is motivating you to vote? President Trump, immigration, the economy? We asked ABC7's digital producer Chloe Conboy to ask you what impact President Trump is having on how you vote. Chloe.
Alan, I can't believe Election Day is finally here, and Facebook viewers are loving our Facebook poll. Tonight's poll is asking our viewers, do you think this midterm election is a referendum on President Trump? Right now, we have around 390 votes, and 75% of our viewers are saying yes, and 25% of them are saying no. Coming up on ABC7 News at 7, I'll share with you some interesting comments about the midterm elections. Alan, I have a feeling you're going to get a kick out of them.
Okay, Chloe, thanks a lot. We'll dive into our discussion on the midterm elections in a moment, but right now let's get a check on the weather from ABC7's chief meteorologist, Bob Harrigan. Bob.
Well, we've got a look at the beautiful sunset here on election night.
All right, here we go, guys. Okay, a little technical problem there, but can we all agree the last few races for governor, Rick Scott versus Charlie Crist, Rick Scott versus Alex Sink, didn't exactly capture our imagination? But tonight we are either on the verge of electing the first African-American governor in Florida history or a Harvard-educated former Navy JAG officer who Donald Trump likes like a lot. Let's head over to ABC7's Jess Dowdrick with more. Jess.
Alan, one of the most highly anticipated races in the country is happening right here in Florida for the governor's race. Tallahassee's Democratic Mayor Andrew Gillum and his wife cast their ballots in the capital city this morning. After voting, Mayor Gillum told reporters that he feels the momentum is on his side.
Us winning tonight, I think, will send a message to Mr. Trump and Mr. DeSantis as well, that the politics of hatred and of division, of separation, that they've come to an end. At least in this election, that's what we're going to show.
As for Gillum's opponent, Republican Ron DeSantis, he also cast his ballot this morning near his home in Ponte Verde Beach. A small crowd of supporters chanted, "We want Ron." He shook hands and thanked supporters before he and his wife, holding their children, Madison and Mason, went into the polling place. DeSantis spoke last night about the issue he will take on if elected to be Florida's next governor.
I'm an Iraq vet. I'm a proven conservative. I stand for the Second Amendment. I will not raise taxes. We'll continue Florida's economic success. I will stand by our veterans.
Most pre-elected polls show Democrat Andrew Gillum leading Republican Ron DeSantis by a very narrow margin. Honestly, it's election night. Anything is possible. If Gillum wins, he would be the first black governor in Florida's history and the first Democrat governor in more than 2 decades. Alan.
Jess, thank you. Our conversation on the governor's race will be in a moment, but first let's get that check on the weather with Bob Harrigan. Bob.
Thank you. Right now it's 75 degrees, clear skies out there, and temperatures on the mild side right now, 75. Winds are calm, the humidity up there, 90%, and with calm conditions and clear skies, we could see a little bit of patchy fog forming overnight. Near record-breaking temperatures anticipated for us tomorrow, especially inland areas. We'll see highs in the upper 80s. Now, there is a weak cold front coming through on Saturday. It will cool temperatures down back to more seasonal averages, which is usually a high near 80 degrees. And then a stronger cold front expected to move through Monday and Tuesday of next week. And you'll notice that difference as temperatures are expected to fall well below seasonal averages on Wednesday and Thursday. Right now, fairly comfortable across the state. It's been really nice weather across the peninsula. There's been a few showers over the panhandle of Florida this afternoon, but not too terrible. As temperatures go, mid-70s now from Bradenton and Cortez and also Anna Maria Island, mid-70s there. The Gulf water temperature now at 79 degrees. That's the temperature now in Arcadia, Wauchula at 80 and 80 in Avon Park. While the stationary front to our north is not all that impressive. I mentioned those light rain showers over the panhandle, not too bad there. This is the same system that caused all sorts of headaches yesterday across parts of the mid-Mississippi Valley into Tennessee, as well as into parts of Arkansas and Missouri, Illinois as well. But for us, pretty high and dry right now. Skies are generally fair overhead, and we have temperatures, as I mentioned, into the mid-70s. We are anticipating no real threat of any rainfall over the upcoming days. We'll talk about the weekend weather and that next cold front due to arrive over the weekend coming up in just a few minutes. Alan?
Bob, thank you. So here we go. I can't think of two guys who are smarter and disagree more on the issues. Keith Fitzgerald gave Vern Buchanan a run for his money in 2012, and Rod Thompson gives me a run for the money every time he's here. There are a lot of fights on the card tonight, but the main event is the race for governor. And gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us on this election night. So much to talk about, and we can't predict what's going to happen today, but we do know that in the end, the Democrats, in terms of early voting and mail-in ballots, beat the Republicans statewide. Republicans always do extremely well on election day. I guess, Keith, the real unknown is which way the non-affiliated voters, the MPAs, are going.
That's right. One of the things about this election so far is that we've broken all kinds of records with the early voting. It looks like we're having humongous turnout. It's going to look more like a presidential year than a midterm. And you're right, the Republicans will, when it's all said and done, have a little bit of an advantage among partisans. So it's all going to come down to the no party affiliation people, and it will come down to crossover votes. And we'll see. There may be a slightly larger number of crossover votes, I would suspect, from Republicans because women are largely disenchanted with President Trump.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. 4 years ago when Charlie Crist was challenging Rick Scott, was it Rick Scott that won the MPA vote?
No, Charlie Crist actually won by about 6%, but that was insufficient to overcome the Republican advantage.
And do you think that, Rod, that this is what you need to do today on Election Day for Ron DeSantis to pull this out?
Yeah, I think both sides actually got their base out. Bottom line is the turnout is 67% in Sarasota County. It's really, really strong for both R's and D's. I think it's, where do the MPAs go, but also the percentage of them that vote, too. A solid political consultant that I know that's run a lot of statewide campaigns says if it's 21% MPA turnout, probably both the Republicans win. 23, probably Gillum wins, and Scott maybe wins. If it's 25 or above for NPAs, probably both Democrats win.
I saw Ron DeSantis talking yesterday, who said, look, the first few weeks of the general election campaign, his campaign got off to a rocky start. He made some personnel moves, bringing Susie Wiles, who ran President Trump's campaign. Once that happened, do you think that he closed this campaign well or well enough?
Well, we'll find out about well enough. He certainly improved as the campaign went along. Look, I think everybody on the Republican side knows that Ron DeSantis is not the strongest campaigner in the world, not the most, sort of vigorous sort of campaigner that you see out there. There's a lot that's attractive about Gillum. DeSantis is just far more accomplished in life and has probably ideas that fit Floridians better if Floridians are really aware of the issues between the two.
And briefly, Keith, have you seen a Democratic candidate for governor energize the Democratic base like this in recent years?
No, the last time we saw anything like this was at the presidential level with Barack Obama in 2008. It has that kind of a feel, but at the state level, no, I've never seen a Democrat fire people up the way that Gillum has.
Okay, we have to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll be talking about the local congressional race between Congressman Vern Buchanan and David Shapiro, so stay with us.
Christmas Traditions by Lux Art Silks, where more is merrier. Make your holidays sparkle with style. Browse our amazing showroom, cute collectible cottages, and beautiful Christmas displays. Find the inspiration, selection, and quality you need to deck the halls merry and bright. Christmas Traditions also features the area's largest selection of quality pre-lit Christmas trees, every size, shape, and color, and plenty of decorations to make your home shine for the holidays. Christmas Traditions by Lux Art Silks, where more is merrier. Visit us on New 301, just a quarter-mile north of University Parkway.
There are lots of people who are confused about which Medicare plan is right for them.
Hey, that's me. I barely know where to start.
Well, start here with me, Karen. I'm a licensed Humana sales agent.
Well, it's nice to meet you, Karen. I'm John Smith.
Hi, John. At Humana, we know you're unique, so you have different needs from other John Smiths.
Yeah, I've always thought so.
And together, we can find a plan that's right for you.
Great. I go to the doctor a couple of times a year, and I have some prescriptions, but I'm never fully sure of what's covered and what's not.
With Humana's all-in-one Medicare Advantage plans, you get coverage for hospital stays, doctor visits, and Part D prescription drug benefits, all for an affordable and sometimes no monthly plan premium.
Do you have any more information?
Sure. I'll get a decision guide in the mail to you today. They're free.
Finally, someone who understands the real me.
Your health and happiness is important to us. Call or go online now to get your free decision guide. Call a licensed Humana sales agent today.
The following message is brought to you by Mesobook.com.
People who have been diagnosed with mesothelioma have many questions. How did I get this disease? What are my treatment options? How will this affect my loved ones? You need answers, which is why we offer a free book written by medical professionals who have treated mesothelioma.
Call toll-free at 1-800-777-1366 or go to mesobook.com.
Recovery from mental and substance use disorders is real.
You can recover.
It's possible. It happens every day.
Never give up on yourself.
Discover hope and help.
The world is a beautiful place again.
Join the Voices for Recovery. For confidential information for mental and substance use disorders, call 1-800-662-HELP.
ABC7, the Suncoast's official Florida lottery station.
Welcome back. Democrats may flip the House tonight, and the party sure hoped that blue wave would crash right down on Vern Buchanan in the 16th Congressional District. Our roundtable continues. Keith, what happened there? I mean, you know this district better than just about everyone. I hope it's not an important call. You know, the Democrats focused on this race. They put David Shapiro on the red to blue list, which is really races that they're targeting, just like they did with you back in 2012. And it seemed that the polling showed that David Shapiro was in contention here. And then all of a sudden you have two public polls come out showing that he's 7 to 9 points behind, where at the same time you have Republicans, incumbents in districts that the president won by 20 points around the country who look like they may well go on to defeat tonight.
I think that it's the Democrats had a very broad field that they had to look at. They had their top races pretty well picked out from the very beginning, but then there were 30 or 40 Democratic races competing with each other to get the most attention. If you slipped in one poll, you may be knocked off the list of people who are really supported, and I think that's what happened.
How badly did that hurt David?
I think it hurt him a great deal because he had enough money to make a negative case against Vern Buchanan. He didn't have enough money to make his own case about himself. And if you're challenging an incumbent, you have to do both. You have to do both.
Rod, let me ask you this. If you could talk about what we're hearing around the country. I mean, there are incredible districts out there across the U.S. in the Midwest, deep red Republican districts, where the president won by double digits, and a lot of people are looking at that and saying those incumbents are in deep trouble tonight. What's different about Kansas than the Suncoast?
I think there's a couple things, particularly in Vern Buchanan's district. Number one is he's pretty good at constituency work and at knowing the issues, and he's stuck to Veterans Affairs, Medicare, Social Security, even some environmental things. He stays close to those, honed in on those, and honestly, I think that the Democrats made a mistake doing the whole Vern's yacht thing and all. I mean, that's great fun for the base, but that was a lot of wasted effort and energy that I don't think flips any votes, and if anything, kind of turns people off a little bit because it was so non-issue oriented.
Except, I mean, Keith, I'm going to ask you to respond to that. You know, I would think that you could use that issue as an appeal to middle-class families on the Suncoast to hear all this stuff about how great the economy is and still have a hard time making ends meet. But was the yacht thing overplayed?
I think it's a good opening argument. It's not enough to sustain a campaign. I think the substance behind that is that the Republican policies are contributing to inequality. So even though the economy is getting better, a small portion of the population are reaping most of the benefits. That's sort of an abstract concept. The yacht thing was a nice way to start that conversation, but it really would have to be followed up.
Okay, our conversation on the midterm elections continues right after we get the check on the First Alert forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Bob.
Well, we showed you this earlier. A beautiful sunset tonight on Sarasota Bay with some high to mid-level clouds. They're just gliding up as the sun dipped below the horizon. Still shown on that high-level cloudiness and caused those beautiful and brilliant colors there. We have a stationary front located to the north here, and this stationary front will continue to just kind of hang out to the north of us. The cooler air behind it, the warm air out ahead of it, and that warm air will stay right on in through Friday. It looks like temperatures will be well above average through Friday as a result of us being on the southern edge of that. And there are a few showers starting to pop up this evening. Very light rain showers due to the heat of the day, but those won't be around long. And temperatures currently into the mid-70s, so it's cooled down quite nicely now. 75 degrees at the Sarasota Bradenton Airport. Temperatures a little bit warmer inland, but not much. We're looking for lows tonight to read near summer readings into the low 70s. And the Gulf water temperature now at 79 degrees. Well, here's the future cast, and the model is suggesting that we'll see partly cloudy skies tomorrow. Once again, that southeast wind with a little west coast sea breeze developing in the afternoon will keep things just a little bit cooler near the coast, but inland areas will get up into the mid to upper 80s. We could see very close to record-breaking highs tomorrow. And then this front on Thursday still just kind of hanging around, not doing a whole lot, producing a few clouds and showers through the panhandle. We have a developing storm system over Kansas, which will eventually sweep a cold front our way on Saturday. Now, that cold front is going to bring us back down to more seasonal averages temperature-wise, and that'll be Saturday and Sunday. Highs will be in the low 80s as opposed to the mid-80s, and tomorrow's highs will be in the mid-80s. As far as the satellite imagery goes, the storm system that was over the Northeast winding down now. It's the same storm system which brought tornadoes and damage to parts of Tennessee and some rough weather into Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio yesterday. Here's what's happening right now. We have fair skies, 75 comfortable degrees out there. Humidity is pretty high, and that's a result of that high dew point temperature that you see right there at the bottom. As far as the high goes today, it did warm above average, just a couple degrees, but this morning's low was 68. That's well above the average, which is normally 62 degrees, and 92 the record set in 1972. Wanted to show you the GFS forecast model. This is the cool down next week. Now it's going to be in the upper 70s, low 80s Saturday and Sunday, but notice this blue air and the blue colors that you see right here. That's the cold air coming down Wednesday. And in fact, indications are we could see some 40s. That's not definite, but it's starting to show more and more like that we're going to see that very chilly air on Wednesday and Thursday of next week. That's jacket and sweater weather, more what you'd see in January and February. Well, for boaters, tomorrow looks pretty quiet out there. Seas will be running basically less than 2 feet, mostly smooth out there, so it stays warm right through the next 4 or 5 days, and then we'll see a slight chance for showers with that weak front on Saturday and Sunday. Look for a few more clouds around. Better chances for rain comes on the next front, which is much stronger, come Monday late and Tuesday morning. Al will be right back with the election night coverage right after this.
Enjoy fine wine and great foods, all while supporting a great cause. It's the 17th annual Suncoast Food and Wine Fest, happening Saturday, November 10th from 1 to 4 p.m. at the Premier Sports Campus in Lakewood Ranch. Taste hundreds of wines from around the world and sample great food from the area's finest restaurants. All proceeds go to local charities and Rotary projects. For tickets and information, visit suncoastfoodandwinefest.com.
This is an important message for anyone with Medicare. You may be eligible for an all-in-one Medicare plan that combines hospital, medical, and prescription drug coverage together with extra benefits that may include dental, vision, hearing aids, and much more. Some of these plans have a $0 monthly premium regardless of your income. That's right. For one low plan premium, or in some cases a $0 premium, you may be able to get coverage for your hospital visits, doctor appointments, prescription drugs, routine dental care, eyeglasses and contact lenses, hearing aids, and possibly more. Today may be the first time you've heard about this type of Medicare plan. The advisors at the Medicare.com helpline are licensed insurance agents who will explain more when you call. Call now to see if you qualify. Call the number on your screen now. Call now to see if you qualify for these benefits. You worked hard for your Medicare. Now is the time for your Medicare to work hard for you. Not affiliated with or acting on behalf of any government agency or program.
Introducing the ABC7 First Alert Weather Tracker. This all-new mobile weather lab is just one more way. The team you trust is keeping you ahead of the storms. The ABC7 First Alert Weather Tracker, sponsored by Mr. Sparky, America's on-time electrician.
You know, fortunately, this was my first job out of college, so I was able to come back home and work in my hometown. I wore two hats. I was sports director and I was a news anchor. I did that for a few years and then decided to go full-time into news. Well, I love our team here at ABC7. We have a great mix, and it really is a great mix of personalities, of experience, that meshes really well into a really strong team. I'm Scott Dennis, and I'm here for you.
Know your land, know your prey.
What are we doing? Saturdays at 5:30 and Sundays at 2 on the ABC7 live stream.
Welcome back to ABC7 at 7's election night coverage. Joining us for more are former state representative Keith Fitzgerald and Rod Thompson of the Sarasota Republican Party. You know, the Senate race has been so interesting. You have the incumbent governor, Rick Scott, going against the longtime Senator Bill Nelson here. And, you know, I've been saying this for days. I can't tell either one of you what this race has been about. I know that Bill Nelson flew on the space shuttle. I know that Rick Scott wears a Navy cap and has a lot of grandkids. And I don't know how to put it this way, but shouldn't we expect more?
Well, that would be fantastic. Yeah, I mean, what I've seen is that both have done the negative campaigning on the others, and outside PACs have. But Governor Scott, I think, has been trying to run on his record of competency without getting, and then a conservative Senate without getting too close to the president. Not sure how that plays statewide. Whereas Senator Nelson, I think his constant baggage is that he really is known as the empty suit. In a little interesting sidebar, that was the cover of a Forbes magazine cover many, many years ago, and it was just an empty suit, and that was Bill Nelson. And the interesting thing about it is that our very own Matt Walsh was a part of that story.
Well, Keith, I would imagine that you disagree about the empty suit issue here, but I've heard Democratic experts say that Nelson has run a very 1990s campaign. We really did not see a whole lot of him here on the Suncoast.
He likes to do a lot of TV at the end. That's the style that he's used in the past. And he did it again, and it seemed to close. I obviously disagree. I think he's well respected in Washington. He's one of those guys who quietly goes about getting things done and does a great job for the people of Florida. But it's sort of interesting. It was a very low-key campaign, actually, on both of their parts. I thought it was sort of ironic that Scott's argument against Nelson was that Nelson was a professional politician after 2 terms as governor. That's a hard sell. Neither one of them really had a searing issue, but people know Bill Nelson, and I think at the end they just seem to come back to him.
Rick Scott is in a position that he could throw a lot of money into these races at the end. That's how, arguably he won 4 years ago against Charlie Crist in the waning weeks of that election here. Keith, a lot of people have said that Andrew Gillum is the best thing that ever happened to Bill Nelson, because Gillum has energized that Democratic base. We'll get your response to that. And what's been interesting is that then a couple of the public polls over the last week or so, it showed identical spreads between the governor's race and in the Senate race.
Right. A few weeks ago, Gillum was actually ahead of Nelson in several polls, and they seem to have converged. But maybe more important as far as helping out Senator Nelson, Andrew Gillum has driven a turnout down in Broward and Dade counties humongously. People are waiting in lines. Also, Duval County, which is almost always a Republican county, seems to be going in a Democratic direction because African-American turnout is fabulous there too.
Rod, your take.
Right, almost the same, because the reason I was doing that was because it was on your show that I said that this is the best thing that could have happened to Nelson was Gillum winning that, because he has energized the black vote, and that does cut against the Republican, obviously in favor of the Democrat. And Nelson, his campaign had seemed very lackluster until then. And, Gillum just sort of energized everybody. He's got Obama coming to the state and so on. And that helps down ballot. Not that Nelson's necessarily down ballot, but it helps the rest of the Ds in Florida. So in that respect, Gillum, if Nelson pulls it out, I think it will be more than anything Gillum and maybe whatever effects were happening from the hurricane up in the Panhandle, and it's unclear what that is going to be.
What about the Trump effect here? A lot of the exit polls that we are already seeing from around the country is that 2/3 of voters say that their vote today in congressional and Senate races is about Donald Trump.
Yeah, not surprising. Trump himself made it about Trump, which in itself is not surprising. He went barnstorming the country to get out the base. He wanted the attention on him. He wanted to say, look, we've been doing great things out of Washington. And I think policy-wise, I certainly agree with that contention. And he's saying that in order to keep the good things going, we need to get the base out. Everybody needs to come out and vote. Vote Republican.
Okay, we're going to take a pause right here, and we're going to go out to Jackie Kelly, who is with one of our candidates for state representative, Democrat Tracy Pratt. Jackie.
I'm just going to ask you how you're feeling. That's right, I'm here now with Tracy Pratt. How are you feeling right now?
I am feeling excited. I mean, this is really a special moment. I think it's going to be a real nail-biter for a lot of people, but the reality is I think we're going to have a lot of wins for the entire country come tomorrow. And I think people are going to feel really good about the fact that they got out there. People were energized, they were excited, they voted, they knocked on doors, and people got involved in our democracy. And I think that's really what this is about. So I'm just excited about the whole process.
Yeah, and you were just telling me some poll numbers. What were you saying?
Right now, I am up 1,500 votes in Sarasota. Another portion of my district's in Manatee County. I don't know those numbers yet right now, but I'm feeling good about Sarasota for sure.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Back to you, Alan.
All right, Jackie, thank you very much. I will say, Tracy Pratt, who's running against Republican Will Bronson, they both debated here at the Trapezoid last week. Probably one of the best debates that we ever had, but two really great candidates who knew their issues and really were able to communicate them well on television. We'll see at the end of the night how this race goes here. Manatee County, that portion of the district is a really red area. We are just getting warmed up on our conversation, and our coverage of election night will continue after a quick break, so stay with us.
Blue 32, Blue 32, hut hut! It's the Gatto Gridiron Challenge. The game's on to sell 2,000 vehicles. 12 teams compete for the #1 spot. Score a great deal at every Gatto dealership. Buy with 0 down. Make no payments for 90 days. Choose from 14 of your favorite brands, all on sale. Who will make it to the end zone? You decide. Rush to a Gatto location near you or visit Gatto.com.
Gatto's got it.
I heard about the Totoli Cancer Center through friends of mine who had been treated here and were very pleased with the treatment.
If there is prostate cancer, we at the Totoli Cancer Center will find it using 3D color flow Doppler ultrasound.
And that helped precisely identify where my cancer was. I can tell you that you will not find a finer, more professional team of clinicians anywhere in the world.
This is the story of a boy who was very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. It made him feel uncomfortable. One day, he found out he had something called autism. His family got him help, and slowly, he learned how to live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
Investigate TV tackles the tough topics.
What happened to my life was awful.
When your health is compromised, we investigate.
They are really drug dealers in white coats.
Corporate greed exposed.
How do you trust them to run this program?
The powerful held accountable with in-depth journalism led by award-winning journalist Lee Zurich. We're your watchdog. Search Investigate TV on your Roku device. Download it now.
Soldiers in the Army National Guard serve to give back to their country and communities. Their part-time commitment qualifies them for an array of benefits, such as affordable health and life insurance benefits, education benefits, including tuition assistance, student loan repayment and GI Bill programs, a retirement plan based on part-time service, and VA home mortgages. Visit NationalGuard.com to learn more about all the benefits available in the Army National Guard.
Are you a food lover, restaurant goer, or home cook? Then check out My Suncoast Dining on MySuncoast.com, your guide to the foodie lifestyle. ABC7's own Chef Judy serves up her favorite recipes, cooking tips and trends, dining blogs, and helpful step-by-step videos. And you'll love the restaurant guide with direct links to your favorite Suncoast eateries. Whether you're cooking in or dining out, whet your appetite with tasty tips from Chef Judy at MySuncoast.com/dining. ABC7, your Suncoast News. We're here for you. Watch ABC7 wherever you are, on our live stream, on MySuncoast.com, on the ABC7 My Suncoast app, powered by the Eye Associates, providing sight for life, featuring traffic maps and live radar, dining with recipes, and My Suncoast Restaurant Guide. Visit MySuncoast.com, click on the Apps tab to download the ABC7 My Suncoast app for Apple and Android. Find out first at 4 with ABC7 News at 4, weekdays on ABC7.
Welcome back. You're watching ABC7 at 7's live coverage of election night. We love the head-to-head matchups, Gillum versus DeSantis, Nelson versus Scott, Buchanan versus Shapiro. But the constitutional amendments and all the other ballot questions could have a profound impact on our lives. ABC7's Erica Jackson joins us with more. Erica.
Alan, thank you. Voters in Florida are marking up one of the most crowded ballots in state history. Here on the Suncoast, it's up to voters in Sarasota County to approve a referendum to extend the Legacy Trail up to Fruitville Road, resulting in a millage increase of $16 per year for taxpayers with a $200,000 home. They'll also decide whether or not to reopen Beach Road. You may remember the county cleared a 400-foot portion of the road on Siesta Key in 2016. You can still walk and bike through it, but now it's up to voters to reopen it to cars. In the city of Sarasota, there's a push to move its spring commission races to the fall. Supporters say the change will increase voter turnout, but those against the move say it will be a disadvantage for snowbirds who don't arrive until September or October. Up in Manatee County, it's up to voters to change the school board elections to single-member representation, which means each member would be elected by residents living in that district. We'll soon get the results on the 12 proposed constitutional amendments, which could put an end to oil drilling and greyhound racing in the state. Now, since the state constitutional amendments are a statewide issue, we won't have the results until after the polls close at 7 o'clock Central Time, due to much of the panhandle being in Central Time. But we will have up-to-the-minute results on our website, mysuncoast.com, as well as coming up tonight on ABC7 News at 11. Alan?
Erica, thank you very much. Gentlemen, some of these constitutional amendments are really controversial because they pair some seemingly unrelated things like vaping and offshore oil drilling, and go figure that. But one of the amendments that could have perhaps the most profound impact on Florida elections is Amendment 4, which would be returning voting rights to felons who have paid done their dues in prison, with the exception of violent criminals and sex offenders. And Keith, I've heard a lot of discussion about this, that you could assume, I don't know if there's any science or research on this, but a lot of those felons may vote Democrat, may change some of the calculations throughout the state.
So there are a lot of them. I think it's 1.4 million is the number. You wouldn't expect that to be a group of people who would vote at a very high rate. Nevertheless, this election tonight between the governor and the senator candidates probably going to be decided by 100,000 or 200,000 people. So even if they voted at a rate of, say, 200,000 out of the million and some, it could make a big difference. They do skew Democratic overall. It breaks down on racial and ethnic grounds in stronger terms. So it could make a huge difference given how close so many elections have been in the state of Florida.
Rod, when we did this as a subject on this show a couple of months ago, we were hard-pressed to find opposition to it.
Right, and I don't particularly oppose it myself. But I'm not sure that it's quite the big deal that a lot of people think, because, as Keith was saying, I would take a step back further. I think there's not a huge percentage that are even going to apply for those voting rights. Then of those that do apply, only a percentage of those would vote. And then of those who vote, they are going to be split between Democrat, Republican, and MPA. A much bigger effect will be the ongoing immigration from other states and how those demographics work out.
Let me ask you this question. If it's really not a big deal, why do we have a current system that the way it works is the governor and the cabinet vote on the restoration person by person, and it's a process that is so bad in Florida that in the end people wait 10 years, if ever, to get their rights back?
Well, I think it obviously needs to be changed. I'm not a fan of the way we do it at all right now. I'm of the opinion that once people have sort of fulfilled their debt to society for the crimes they've committed, and they've been freed for what, if there's some sort of a waiting period or whatever, but at some point you basically get your rights back, unless you're a murderer or a rapist or something. And then I think it's okay for society to say at that point, no, you don't ever get those
It's
back.
a uniquely unpartisan position. The Catholic Church weighed in, the Baptist Church weighed in, all these religious organizations says basically that's what the Bible tells us to do.
Well, the history of it is also very embarrassing, because the question isn't so much why do we do it, it's why did we not change it later. That was passed in 1868 when a whole bunch of states tried to disenfranchise African Americans, and that's just the history of it. Over time, most states went back and said this isn't right because it's targeted at one specific group. Florida's never done it, so it's an embarrassment to our state, and it's time to get rid of it.
Any other single statewide ballot initiative that you think is more important than the other? Rod?
Not really. On the state amendments, and this is only a minor exception, but not totally, and this is where I've just managed to anger absolutely everybody with my position, is that going through them, I felt like while I agreed with a lot of them on a policy level, I'm not sure I was comfortable with any of them rising to the level of needing to be part of the state's foundational document in the Constitution.
Okay, we have to take a quick break. We'll be back in a moment, so stay with us.
Helping families with mesothelioma is all we do. My firm has been offering a free book on mesothelioma for over 10 years. Since that time, hundreds of people with mesothelioma have trusted us to represent them. We have local offices throughout the U.S. and there is no risk to you. Mesothelioma really is all we do. Call us at 1-800-485-6000. That's 1-800-485-6000. Or go to mesoonlylaw.com.
The ABC7 First Alert weather app just got even better. It's easy to use once you download it. First, tell the app to follow you, so you get alerts pinpointed to exactly where you are. Then customize your settings with all the places you go, from the beach to grandmother's house. Get accurate alerts for everyone you care about. You can even pick which weather alerts and categories you want and what they sound like. More ways to customize and more ways to keep your family safe. Download the ABC7 First Alert weather app today.
Hunger is a growing problem in our area, and a huge number of Suncoast residents are suffering in silence.
It could be your coworker,
your child's classmate,
or your friend fighting to secure their next meal. But you can help.
ABC7 is partnering with local organizations to help feed the Suncoast.
Go to mysuncoast.com/hunger to join the fight. Help us.
Help the hungry.
Blue 32, Blue 32, hot, hot. It's the Ghetto Gridiron Challenge. The game's on to sell 2,000 vehicles. 12 teams compete for the #1 spot. Score a great deal at every Ghetto dealership. Buy with 0 down. Make no payments for 90 days. Choose from 14 of your favorite brands, all on sale. Who will make it to the end zone? You decide. Rush to a Ghetto location near you or visit Ghetto.com.
Ghetto's got it.
Teachers inspire our children and promote a lifetime of learning. So ABC7 and Ghetto Automotive want to honor these chalkboard champions by giving them the chance to win $500. But we need your help. Go to mysuncoast.com/chalkboardchampions to nominate an outstanding teacher who's really making a difference. And each month we'll deliver $500 to one teacher in Sarasota County and one teacher in Manatee County. Go to mysuncoast.com and nominate your chalkboard champion today. I'll be right back.
Welcome back to ABC 7 at 7's live election coverage, and joining us for more are former State Representative Keith Fitzgerald and Rod Thompson of the Sarasota Republican Party. The numbers are starting to come in there. We're going to have them for everybody as soon as we get more of them coming in. But it does look, at least in Sarasota County, a lot of these races are very, very close. But when you're dealing with congressional races that, involve 3 different counties, like the 16th, which involves not only Sarasota, but Manatee and Southern Hillsborough County, it really kind of takes a while to get the complete picture here. So Keith, as I said, you know that district better than just about everyone. What are you looking to see here?
Well, I would expect to see David Shapiro run up a big lead in that first report from Sarasota, because more Democrats vote by mail or early vote here than Republicans do by pretty big numbers. And that's what's reported first in Sarasota County. The other counties don't do it that way, so you're right, it's confusing. You have to follow it almost precinct by precinct if you're going to get a clear beat on what's going on.
Okay, we're going to take a quick pause here because things are starting to get exciting at the Republican Watch Party, and we're going to go out to Taylor Torregano, who joins us with more. Taylor.
Good evening, Alan. It is so hard to hear you because it is so loud and vibrant here. I'm going to step out of the way away so you can see all of the people who have come. Let me pan over. There is live entertainment. There's a guy walking around on stilts. Where is he? Oh, he's right here. Let me show you. Look at this guy on stilts. So the plan is to hopefully talk to Congressman Vern Buchanan in a couple of minutes here. We had his campaign manager on just a few minutes ago, and he told us how excited they were, how the campaign trail has been super fun, and that, you know, now they're sad that it's coming to an end, but they're really, really hopeful for tonight. So we'll have Congressman Buchanan here. We'll have Joe Gruder's going to be coming. He's the candidate for state senate. We have Christian Ziegler, who is one of the candidates for Sarasota County Commission, and numerous other people who are hoping to say speeches for their victory laps if they win. So stay tuned, and I'll toss it back to you.
Taylor, thank you very much, gentlemen. I don't know if that was Vern Buchanan or Joe Gruder's walking around on the stilts there. But Rod, this is a unique district because I don't think many people know that 30% of this district is actually Hillsborough County. It goes all the way up to Apollo Beach. And how much of the campaign is really played out in both Manatee and Hillsborough counties?
Yeah, well, a lot of it now, but, you know, the reason it's up to Hillsborough is because of the redistricting. It didn't used to be. But it does capture a lot of that. Nonetheless, I think that Vern Buchanan is going to win this district, and I think he's going to win it with a bit of a cushion here, and I think that we've talked about that before and why. But I think he understands the district, and Manatee County plays a huge role, actually, in this district.
Let's talk for a moment about the 17th Congressional District. That is the district that Tom Rooney retired from. April Freeman, the Democratic candidate, passed away suddenly just a couple of weeks ago. That district was, Keith, out of reach to begin with, but now you have a situation where it was too late to remove her name from the ballot, and Alan Ellison, a really bright young man, was here, but that really is a tough road.
I think that was probably out of reach all along, just by virtue of the numbers. You know, I like to say here in Sarasota what the Democrats need to do to be more competitive is bring in 30,000 additional Democrats. Some of it does come down to numbers, and that district was stretched by any imagination. And this situation is really strange. This new candidate is not going to be able to get his own message out in any way, shape, or form.
And the obviousness of how big a gap this is going to be was that Greg Stubbe, and I tend to trust internal polls that aren't made public as being probably the most accurate polls, has been for the last few weeks. He's been raising money for other congressional candidates. I mean, he's not even raising money for himself anymore.
Right. You know, I know it was a competitive primary, but has anybody had an easier walk into the U.S. Congress than Greg Stubbe?
Well, right. Once you get past the primary, that was always going to be the case in that one. I mean, Keith's right. That one was going to be won in the primary. That's why you had heavyweights going at it in the primary, and that's where it was going to be won, and looks like that will be the case.
We're going to take a quick pause here. We'll have final thoughts coming up in a moment, but right now let's get a final check on our first alert forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Bob.
A lot of excitement right now, Alan, going across the country and here in Florida as well. We're going to get back to that in just a little bit. Quick weather update. We have a stationary front that's to the north of us right now, not causing too much concern as far as getting votes out in the state of Florida. There's nothing too severe or rough around the state of Florida for that matter, and most of the U.S. pretty quiet. We're looking at a few isolated showers that have been popping up due to the heat of the day, but those have been inland and very light at this point. Temperatures currently, again, forecast to be down into the 60s, upper 60s to low 70s. We'll warm up tomorrow into the mid 80s. Now, if you're right near the water, this at the airport with a sea breeze developing, it'll keep it in check right around 83. But Orlando could get very close to 90 degrees tomorrow. Fort Myers the same, and then we'll see low temperatures dropping down to in the upper 60s to low 70s, still above average, about 6 degrees warmer than it normally is this time of year on Thursday morning. And then for Thursday afternoon, once again into the mid 80s we go as a result of that southeasterly wind flow. Well, the Futurecast is showing partly cloudy skies throughout the day tomorrow, with sunshine occasionally, mostly sunny skies occasionally, and then that'll be the case again on Thursday with a little bit more moisture coming back into play. There's a slight chance for a few inland showers, I do believe, in the afternoon on Thursday. That front will fade away to our north, but eventually a cold front will slide in over the weekend. Our forecast tomorrow then calling for a warm start and a warm finish as well. Temperatures warming into the mid 80s as far as that goes, and looks as though we'll see a few showers come this weekend, but that'll be about it. We should be rain-free right through Friday. Currently, we have fair skies and 75 degrees. Winds are calm, the humidity high 90%. And it looks as though the high today did warm above average slightly, and our low also above average. The forecast for boaters, tomorrow looks good out there. Pretty calm seas, running less than 2 feet. And as far as the 7-day forecast goes, we'll see partly cloudy skies through Friday, warm temperatures, and then a cold front slips in, maybe a few more clouds for the weekend, and a slight chance for a few showers. Better chance for rain comes early next week. Alan will be back with his guest talking about the election night in just a few minutes. Stick around.
You like to pay less. That's why you made Honda Accord the best-selling mid-size car in America. Get the redesigned Accord, the North American Car of the Year, or Civic, a KBB.com Best Buy for less than the competition. Like SUVs and trucks? Get Motor Trend's SUV of the Year, CRV, the 8-passenger Pilot, or Ridgeline truck for up to $4,240 less today at your local Honda dealer.
America was built on a love for the outdoors. We are a nation of sportsmen, blessed with magnificent natural resources. With broad interests across water and field, we are united in our devotion to nature and conservation. Join us every week for the best shows celebrating the outdoor lifestyle. Outdoor America. Live free.
This weekend on the ABC7 live stream. WWSB ABC7 is an equal opportunity employer, and we're looking for qualified people to join our dynamic team. For a list of current openings and to apply online, visit www.mysuncoast.com/contact/employment. If you're a motivated team player and you want a rewarding career in a fun, fast-paced working environment, WWSB ABC7 could be the perfect fit for you. Check out our list of openings now. It's rainy season on the Suncoast. Storms can pop up at a moment's notice. Sometimes it's just rain. Sometimes it's much worse. When there's the potential for severe weather, you need to know fast. Trust ABC7 First Alert Weather to get you the information you need right away. We focus on the storms that impact where you live, and we're committed to alerting you with important information as soon as we get it. When severe weather strikes, trust ABC7 First Alert Weather. We're here for you.
Be a Heart Walk hero. I'm Scott Dennis. Join ABC7 and the American Heart Association for the 2018 Suncoast Heart Walk. It's Saturday, November 10th at J.D. Hamill Park. Walk with us to help raise funds to fight heart disease and stroke. Your support will help us advance life-saving breakthroughs that will keep more hearts beating. We can't save lives without your help. Register for free and walk with us to have fun and help hearts. For more information, visit suncoastheartwalk.org.
Recovery from mental and substance use disorders is real. You can recover. It's possible. It happens every day.
Never give up on yourself.
Discover hope and help.
The world is a beautiful place again.
Join the Voices for Recovery. For confidential information for mental and substance use disorders, call 1-800-662-HELP.
Check out mysuncoast.com/dining, your guide to the foodie lifestyle.
Welcome back. Our poll question tonight: what impact did President Trump have on how you voted? Let's go out to our digital producer, Chloe Convoy. Chloe.
Alan, here's some of the comments I wanted to share with you from our Facebook poll. Catherine shares, yes, it is a referendum on the horrible Trump administration and the damage he is doing to our country. Ryan snaps back at Catherine, saying, yes, such like a booming economy and record low unemployment levels. We will leave our Facebook poll up the duration of the night, so go ahead and share your comments with us. Alan, back to you.
Chloe, thank you, gentlemen. That's really, for a lot of people, that's the debate, that Democrats are offended by President Trump. I think President Obama said the other day that character is on the ballot here. But Republicans, Rod, look to the economy, the good economic news, and they've never been more supportive of the president.
Right. A couple things there. I think that those comments very well reflected the messaging of both parties at this point. But I think that some of it's actually going to come down to, and if we're talking in the broader picture of Congress and the Senate, some of it's going to come down to, did Trump tick off enough Americans enough for Democrats to really have a blue wave? Or did Democrats with protests and Kavanaugh, et cetera, tick off Americans enough to where it actually blunts the blue wave? And both sides really made an attempt there.
Right.
Well, I think you're going to see high turnout from both sides. which means that the no party affiliation folks actually have the balance of power. I think one of the ironies of the position of the Democrats is, in the classic sense of the term, they're the conservatives, because what they're really upset about with President Trump is a lack of respect for fundamental institutions and processes and just civility in government. And that's really their motivating factor, that and concern about divisiveness over racial
I know you're
issues.
nodding your head, but let's...
Shaking my head.
Okay, all right. I do want to talk about the governor's race and the statewide races one more time, the U.S. Senate race, and we haven't even touched on the Attorney General's race and the agricultural race. We're going to start getting those numbers 6 minutes from now.
Okay.
Keith, how long is it going to take for us to get a really clear picture in terms of where this is going, or could this be a really late night?
I think both the governor's race and the Senate race could go on for quite a while. You know, and it also, one of the things that can be confusing is Broward and Dade and Palm Beach ought to be the real strongholds for Gillum and Nelson, particularly Gillum, and they're always the last ones to come in. So it might look
why
like...
is that?
Incompetence is what I'd say.
They seem to have a hard time counting votes over there in Palm Beach County. It seems to go way back, either party. But yeah, it's just the way it goes.
And Rod, what are you looking for there?
Yeah, I think that I think it's going to be a late night for particularly determining Congress, the Senate, but our two statewide races. I think those are going to be close races. I really think it could be a late night. However, I would say particularly for Sarasota County and probably most of Manatee County, I don't think anything changes, and I think we're going to know in pretty good order that we basically have the status quo after all of this.
Are you both surprised that we have not talked or heard more about the race for Attorney General and Agricultural Commission and CFO?
Not with everything else going on. There's just too much clutter, too much dust, too much smoke to get involved, interested in those races.
My friend Loran Owsley ran for CFO a few years ago, and it was the hardest thing in politics. She couldn't raise money because nobody cares about it, and it's a statewide race.
All right.
And we've had Jimmy Petronas twice in town here. It was easy.
We have to leave it right there. We want to thank former State Representative Keith Fitzgerald and Rod Thompson of the Sarasota Republican Party for joining us tonight. That is all the time we have for this evening. I'm Alan Cohn. Thanks for joining us, and have a great night.